Good day, everybody. Today I'm gonna introduce you to some of the basic principles of animation in Maya, some of the basic features of animation in Maya. I have this model over here, which I believe most of you will also be having. What I want to do is I want to introduce the timeline to you first of all. How do you see this and how you can manage this? Now, if you look at these numbers over here, starting from 1 till whatever this is 30, you will see that this over here, this time slider, and these numbers are connected with each other. So I'm going to explain this to you. What 1 over here means, that let's say if I have 1 over here, it will show the animation to me from start, which is in the number 1 keyframe or frame, until 30, which is this number. So let me just change this to 10 till 20, and notice how this changes over here. So even though the animation will have total 1 till 48 frames, but this time slider will show me only this small portion of animation over here. So I can actually have this changed, and this reflects the timeline over here what I see, and these two are also both connected with each other. Now this, it starts from 1, and I can have my maximum number of keyframes in my animation also to be 30, in which case it will show me only 1 till 30. Even if I slide, it will just go a little bit further ahead. This is my timeline, and this is the time slider. Now let's look at this over here. These are my animation preferences, and what you want to look at is the time slider over here. Both of these settings can also be changed or modified from here, which I just explained. Why? The second thing is the height. What I can actually also do is to increase the height of this timeline so that it looks a little more bigger, and some people find it more easier to handle. And then another important thing you want to look at is the time code, so you can actually see what exactly the time it is, and it will show you on the keyframes also what's exactly the time. Or you can just turn it off if you find it's not very specific time which you need to look at when you are animating. Now this is, let's say I have a small animation and I press S. I'll tell you about this a little later. And then I move this fish a little forward, and at 20 I move this fish a little forward and press S. So that's my animation. Now if I say once, okay, and I come in the beginning, which is the first keyframe, and I play my animation, it will just play it once. But if I have this oscillate, it will go forward and then also backward. Let's just play this from beginning. It will go from beginning. Let me just play this. Go forward, and then also it will go backwards. Now this is what the oscillation means. And then this is continuous, which actually plays it uh, in the continuous mode. Okay. That's what these settings are. I'm going to leave that to continuous, and let's come down to the playback speed. Now you want to I guess you guys already know what this real time and half is. I suggest you leave it at real time and then save your preferences. Okay, and then there's one more setting you want to look at, is the yeah, so that's about it. Now there's one thing I guess you know already, is the keyframes over here. Now more often this happens that I need to have the keyframes set by pressing S, or you can also go to the animation menu, polygon, and then animation, and once you've pressed animation, you can go to animate and then set key, the shortcut of which is S. Okay, so that's what is actually setting the animation by yourself, by itself. Another thing what you can do is you can just click on the object, and let's say there's a keyframe somewhere in between, here, and I press S. Now I want this point to move towards the left side. What I can do is I can cut it and I move it towards the first keyframe, so I can just paste it, so that movement will happen a little quicker, and the other movement will be the remainder of the movement will be a lot slower, as you can notice. Or I can do a drag like this by pressing shift, and then I can actually move it towards the right side or the left side. So that is what the drag helps us to do, to move the whole keyframe to the left side or the right side. Notice whatever keyframes come between that drag, let's say there are more than 2 keyframes, then both of those keyframes, if you press shift and select, will be affected. So you can move them together. Another important thing to note is breakdown key. What breakdown key is, let's say at this point I want to, let me just delete this keyframe. At this point I want to have a breakdown key. What this is this breakdown key's color is a little different. It's green. So what it tells us, it's a breakdown key. What it says is that if the distance between this keyframe and this keyframe will remain proportional always. So if let's say if I select this keyframe and I move it, let's say I select this keyframe and I move it towards the left side or the right side, this green color breakdown key will be remaining proportionate, and it will remain proportionate both to the right side of the keyframe and the left side of the keyframe. Okay, and therefore the movement of this fish will remain proportionate. Okay, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll move forward after this.